Welcome to our 5 on 5. We're joined by Lieutenant Mike Budreau with the Medford Police Department. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're here to talk about your return from the FBI National Academy in Quantico, Virginia. How many weeks were you gone?
Yeah, so it was a 10-week academy that started in January and went all the way through March. So it was a long time that I was in Quantico.
Yeah, absolutely. What were you doing that entire time?
So it's really like going back to college, except it's for law enforcement. So I was taking classes the whole time. I took 5 classes. They were all master level classes. So I was pretty busy with schoolwork, homework, presentations, studying for tests, reading, all that stuff you do when you're back in college. So it was quite a learning experience.
What was your favorite part of it?
I'd say my favorite part, even though I learned a lot, from the course content, but I'm there with 200 other law enforcement professionals from around the nation and even like the country. There's like other countries there. So sharing those experiences and stories about what they're going through compared to what we're going through, and it's going to better prepare me for like a situation that is odd or unusual for this area. I have now a resource list of so many others that I can contact for great advice, as well as, like I said, the stuff that I actually learned there from the classroom material. Yeah.
Not everyone really gets to participate in something like this. Was there a screening process? How did you get this possibility?
Gosh, I think I'm really lucky that I was able to go, and there was quite a vetting process. So I put in for this a couple of years ago that I applied, and there's a background check. You have to be recommended by your department, and then you have to make sure that you're going to be around in law enforcement afterwards. In other words, so you're not going to take the course and then maybe go into retirement. And then there's a background investigation too, an interview process with the FBI. So that ended up taking me about 2 years before I was finally able to go. Wow. And really, there's just so few officers that can do that. That's why it takes so long. It's kind of like almost like a lottery system, but you got to be well qualified too.
Interesting. We're going to take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Welcome back. We're joined by Lieutenant Mike Budreau. We're talking about your time with the FBI National Academy in Virginia. Can you tell us a little bit about what those classes looked like?
Yeah, so as I said earlier, the majority of my time spent there was in the classroom. It wasn't rappelling from helicopters or anything cool like some people think, but the learning aspect was pretty interesting. We had a lot of guest speakers, a lot of law enforcement professionals from around the nation that talked to us about issues that they've dealt with. Most of those really were negative issues, but really how they dealt with them, how to avoid them in the future. I mean, as we know, police work can be very challenging in this day and age, and one little mistake could have the ripple effect on ourselves and many other agencies. So it's really about trying to predict the big one coming down and then how to handle those types of situations. So just the guest speakers and all the expertise was incredible. But I also did other classes like emerging trends in law enforcement, which was very interesting. And then there's some fitness stuff. Drugs, I mean, we all know drugs are a big deal here where they're a big deal everywhere. And that's really essentially what was driven home in my drug class that I took. But again, trying to find solutions to these daunting problems is challenging.
What was the toughest course that you took, or the toughest topic?
I would say that the toughest course would be emerging trends in law enforcement, because you're really trying to foresee the next issue that's coming up. And then we're also analyzing the past to help better predict the future. But with all my courses, they were all challenging to a point, because there was a lot of reading and test taking and presentations and all the stuff that you would see with coursework. So they were all pretty challenging.
Was there anything that really surprised you that you learned or experienced?
Being on the East Coast and around all those other law enforcement professionals was probably the most surprising, that we are all dealing with really the same type of things, the drugs, the mental health issues, the budgeting issues, the recruiting issues. We're all kind of dealing with the same problems. And I was a little bit surprised, because being born and raised in the Valley, I kind of think that, well, these are our problems, but it's the same type of problems that everyone else is having. I was a little bit surprised by that, but almost pleasantly surprised.
Interesting. Lieutenant,
Yeah.
thank you so much,
All
and
right.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay with us. We'll be right back.